let's look at that relationship between the three arms of government. Now, the CJN in his speech talked about response to court rulings and judgment by the state. How would that work out? Because there's been that issue of sometimes court rulings are given and the state does not adhere
when
to
court
it.
pronouncements are given and the executive fail to respect those pronouncements, it's a sure recipe for anarchy. Let me tell you, if you want this country to work, we should recognize the fact that none of the three arms of a government is superior to the other. And if you want to even talk of superiority, you say, oh, the one that is even superior is the judiciary. Because everybody is bound by the element of respect for the law and order. So when you rob the judiciary of a country, you are indirectly destroying the foundation of that country. You understand me? And this is the point we are saying. We are not even talking of our own era. Because some of us will ultimately pass away, we'll go. It's a phase. What of those coming behind? What is the legacy that we want to leave behind for the upcoming generation? We need to sanitize the process. So when the Buhari-led administration is talking of, positioning anti-corruption war as a major agenda, it is indirectly assisting the growth and the health of the country.
But from the speech of the CJN, did you see any actions being put out there as to how to work on that relationship so that the executive would adhere more to court rulings and judgment?
I think I see an era of greater, collaboration between the three arms of government. And I think if this strategy has been employed earlier, some of these issues or these concerns that have been expressed by patriotic Nigerians may not have arisen. Because there should be an era of strategic or constructive engagement between the three arms of government. They must be on the same page. The executive, the judiciary, the legislature must be on the same page in the war against corruption. So when the war against corruption is being sustained, it is in the larger interest of Nigerian society. It is not a war targeted at any specific individuals. It is to guarantee the health of the country. That is why we are fighting the war against corruption. So corruption hurts everybody. Hurts you, hurts me, hurts everybody. So fighting it should be a shared responsibility.
What do you see happening to the adjournment privileges of a judge? How do we determine when we think, no, this is way too much, an adjournment?
All of these provisions have been taken care of by the law. Except that
the ACJA?
ACJA says you cannot adjourn cases for more than 5 adjournments. Yes, ACJA is. I think we must insist on the enforcement of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, as well as on the implementation of the effective measures just read out by the CJN. And I drove up my heart for this CJN. More than any other CJN in the history of the country, he has come out frontally to show his commitment to the anti-corruption war of this government. This is not to say that if government come to court with shoddy cases, they will win. No. If your case is bad, it is bad. No judge is going to assist a case that is heavily bad or polluted. You understand me? What this calls for is effective and efficient investigation, effective and efficient prosecution, and effective and efficient adjudication, where the rights of all those who have access to court will be respected, where justice will not be tilted. And again, we must also de-emphasize media trials, because you prejudice the rights of the accused when you expose the trial process to the pages of newspapers. You understand what I'm saying? You don't run into conclusions, because reputation, when people are accused
cancel handling cases.
No, what I'm saying is that you don't try cases on the pages of newspapers.
Including prosecution.
Yes. Allow the courts to do their job. When you report proceedings in court, report it accurately. Don't allow yourself to be carried out, because it can be anybody's turn. Anybody can be accused of any offense. Accusation or allegation is quite different from pronouncement of guilt. We must begin to change the attitudinal chemistry of our country to recognize that rights are sacrosanct and they must not be trampled upon with reckless abandon.
But you know that those who have accused the FCC of that in the past.
You see, all of us are culpable of this. When you say accusing EFCC of this, you forget that the primary function of the media is to inform and entertain, and you are always fishing for news. You have your way of fishing for news. You understand me? So, because what we want to conceal is what the press wants to expose, and we cannot prevent.
So you're now
from
shifting
that.
the blame to the media.
No, I'm not shifting the blame to the media. I'm saying that some of this, information must be privileged until the trial process is activated. The media is playing a very useful role. You understand me? It's playing a very, but media must, report cases responsibly. I mean, being guided by ethics, the finest tradition of journalistic, practice. Once every profession adheres to some of these ethics, the legal profession is one of the best professions, just like any other profession, guided by ethics, guided by laws. And it is because these laws are flagrantly breached, because we replace some of these laws with whims and caprices. That is why we have some of these problems.
But this recommendations, the CJN speech, as good as it looks, as you say, some previous CJNs too have tried to see what they can do to improve justice delivery and the impression people have, the image of the judiciary. Even, I think the last time I was talking about judges delivering, it's up to 2 or 3 judgments, is it in a month or in a quarter? What challenges did you see? Why do you think that those CJNs were not able to achieve as much as they would have wanted? And what will make this one different?
You see, previous CJN have also done their best within in the circumstances in which they operated. But one thing you must realize is that situations during the administration of those CJN are quite different from now. We now operate in an atmosphere of impunity, where corruption has been elevated as an article of faith, where things have gotten so bad that it challenges the consciousness of every patriotic Nigerian. So this CJN is operating in an unusual time. And so it requires extraordinary measures. It's coming into office at a time when corruption is at the highest in terms of the magnitude. And so what he has reeled out are extraordinary measures that you don't see take place here previously. And so we need to salute him. I think what we need to do is to collaborate with the judiciary. We need to also, prevent this unnecessary indictment of the judiciary. Let them do their work.
Okay.
And everybody must key into this anti-corruption agenda of this administration. Right, because it's in the interest of the country.
Mr. Wahab Shittu is a legal practitioner and also a lecturer in law. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Always my pleasure to be on channels.
Indeed. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go away.